Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's that time of year again when camping season's done and we have to winterize the camper. Now, I have never winterized this camper myself. When we bought it, we also bought like a maintenance package with it where the dealership would winterize it and de-winterize it. I tried looking up some YouTube videos on how to winterize a camper and I really couldn't find anything good. So, as I said, because I've never done this before, I don't 100% know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know the gist of it, so let's do this together and see if we can figure it out together. So what I started out doing was leveling the camper as though I was at a campground. I don't know if that matters or not. I did that because I feel like if everything's leveled, then water should drain as needed. First thing I got to do is, or one of the first things I got to do is start up by emptying this pass-through storage because my water pump is behind this panel here, so I need access to get this panel off. Another thing is down here, where is it at? Right here. These two lines here, this red and this blue, these are called your low point drains. I know I gotta pull these caps off to drain out as much as I can. So at some point I gotta get those off too. So I also went on Amazon and I purchased this air hose blowout kit, which you hook up to your water connection to blow all the air lines out. But you got to be real careful with this. All your faucets and spigots and whatnot on the camper have to be open, so to stop building up pressure in the air line and possibly blowing out your air line. Also, you have to turn the regulator down on your air compressor. I think I'm going to have it turned down to about 30 psi. I kind of Googled it and it said that was a pretty safe limit, because my air compressor can go up to like 120 psi. That would be so much pressure it would literally rupture your water lines. So you got to be careful with that. Okay, one of the other things we got to do during winterizing is drain the water heater. And the water heater is behind this access panel here. In order to do that, you have to pull out this plug here, and that's actually the anode rod, and that will actually drain it. So I'm going to get a socket and a ratchet and we'll get that taken off. So right here is your pressure relief valve. You want to pull that first just to relieve any pressure that's in there. That's all it took. And I found the socket. It's an 1 1/16" socket, at least on mine. I don't know if they're different from model to model, but on mine it's an 1 1/16". And this is also the time when I like to check my anode rod. I'm going to guess that mine is probably about shot, which is no problem because I got a new one. Oh yeah, you can see it's pretty chewed up. So I'll just replace that. Maybe at the end of this video I'll show you what the new one looks like, or maybe not. I don't know. And we just gotta let this sit here and drain out. So I guess one thing I forgot to mention is I've already got my black tank and gray tanks emptied out and cleaned out for the year. Obviously that's something you should have did before getting to this point. But the freshwater tank, I did drain it, but I'm going to guess there's still some more residual in there. Yeah, there was quite a bit more that built up. So I'm going to pop that open, leave it open for the time being. And while the water heater is draining, I'm going to just pull the caps on my low point drains, get those draining too. I think in theory, because they call it low point drains, it's the lowest point in your water system. It should drain out most of the water. But that's also what the blowout tool is for, is blowing out the rest of the water that's just sitting in the horizontal line. So yeah, we'll let those drain out for the time being while the water heater is draining out too. So I got the pass-through storage cleaned out. I actually had to clean out some on the other side too, because I didn't realize this panel goes damn near to the other side here. There was only like 4 or 5 screws holding it in, so now I can just pull this panel out. And I'll show you here. So right here is our water pump, which is what we needed access to. And if I can show you here, this little valve here, I have to flip that the other way. And if you see, this hose here is the end that you dip into the the RV antifreeze jug to start pumping the RV antifreeze through the system. So it looks like the water heater is done draining out, which is fine. We just leave that now. But I also got to clean out this cabinet here, which we got a bunch of crap in there. I had to clean this out because there's another access panel in here, and I had to get to the back of the water heater to switch a bypass valve on it, because apparently when you're winterizing it, you got to hit that bypass valve so it doesn't just start filling up the water heater again. Also, I had an issue ever since last year when this spring when they de-winterized it for me. Somebody was not very gentle with this thing, which is why I'm glad I'm not taking this into a dealership anymore. And literally they knocked this thing loose. I don't know if you can see, like, this whole water heater is loose. So now as we've been bouncing on the road every trip, it keeps sliding out on me. So I got to fix that too. There's some kind of retaining clips in there inside I got to take care of, and then this stuff on the outside. And then I bought some more of like the RV sealant for resealing this. So I got it cleaned out, but I want to show you this. This is the access panel, and you can see like this crap's all busted up from our stuff we store in here and bouncing. Because this is, if you look, I got a lot of overhang here behind the axles. So this is kind of like when you're a kid and you rode on the school bus, in the back of the school bus, how you bounce a lot more. Kind of the same concept here. But also, I mean, they build these things so chintzy, it's just ridiculous. I'm gonna fix this before next spring, because this needs to hold up better. This is just ridiculous. I get that there's a fine line they have to walk here when they're building these campers, trying to make them so that they're not too heavy for a pickup truck to pull, but at the same time, you can make them a little nicer than this. I mean, for crying out loud, you got one screw in there, one screw in here, one screw in here. Come on, you can do better than that. So the access panel's off, and this is pretty straightforward. Here is one of my valves. Here's my other valve, and it's got a little instruction thing here, and it just says position the handles towards the water heater for normal use, and position them in line with the line for winterizing. So literally all I have to do is turn that one that way, and turn that one that way, and now it should bypass the water heater. Done. Okay, so I got some pails. I'm going to put them underneath the faucets just to catch the water so we don't got more water going down the drain, because like I said, I already emptied the tanks on this thing. And I am going to put this, since this one's got one of those kind of handles that don't got a hot and a cold, I'm going to put it right in the middle and turn it on so that it's got both the hot and cold water lines open. So I'm going to do the same thing in here. This one actually doesn't have a hot and a cold, so... And I can hear air sucking out right now, so my guess is those low point drains are probably draining out more on the ground. For the shower here, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take the shower head completely off, like so. Let's take the shower head off, and I'll put that right in the bucket like that. And then I'll turn these on. This is not working as I wanted it to. Had to change my plan a little bit. It was not staying in the little bucket, so I got a 5-gallon pail. That should stay in, so we should be good now. So like I said, when we go to do the blowout tool, everything has to be open. And we have an outdoor shower on this, so I have to have this open as well. Same thing as the indoor shower. I'm going to just take this nozzle right off. And this one obviously don't need a bucket because it can just drain on the ground. I can open both these up. There it drains. Okay. We have one last water hookup, and it's a spray port here. I have actually never even used this thing in the entire time I've owned this camper. I've owned this camper for about 5 years now. And I've never used this thing. I don't even know what usefulness this is, but they put it on there. And they give you this little hose with a little sprayer attachment, so I believe you just push it back kind of like an air compressor, Chuck, and yep, now it's hooked up. And so this one, I don't think I need this sprayer on. I think I can just leave the... Oh, maybe that's stuck on there. Okay, I can open it up like this and keep it open like that. And that should work. So I got my blowout tool assembled now. As you can see, it's got a little ball valve here. You just open and close it with that. I got it hooked up to my air compressor. And like I said, my air compressor can go to 125 psi. So I've got the regulator turned down to just 30 psi because we don't want to rupture the water lines when we do this. And like I said, we've got all the ports open so that when we start doing this, all the ports should be blowing the water out. So let's try this out. Turn it on slowly so you don't just shock the system. Okay guys, so like I said, I've never done this before, so I had to figure this out. The first time I turned this on, I still had the load point drain caps open, and the air was just going directly from here to the low point drains. It wasn't even blowing out of any of the outlets. So I had to cap the low point drains, and then it started blowing out of all the faucets and showers and whatnot. Okay guys, we got the freshwater system blown out now. I went through and closed up all the valves again. And I did take the low point drains off, caps off again. I don't know if I need those on or off for when we actually start putting the RV antifreeze through. I will find out when we start. But now we gotta blow out the black tank flush line as well. Notice I'm doing that after the clean water side because I don't want contamination. And when I'm done doing the black water tank flush, I am gonna disinfect this tool so that next year when I go to do this, it ain't contaminated. Because it's the whole reason, like at the campground, why there's two separate lines for potable water and the black tank flush. You don't want contamination of your freshwater system. And that should be all that needed. Okay, I think we're to the point now of doing the antifreeze. This is what I got. I bought the good stuff, the Prestone, good for down to a -100. If it gets that cold here, I think we've got bigger issues. But so I definitely shouldn't have anything freezing up on me. I didn't know how much to get. I bought 4 gallons. It's only like $6 a gallon. So I flipped that valve I showed you guys on the line going into the water pump. So now instead of sucking out of the water tank, the freshwater tank, it's sucking out of this line. And this line I pulled off of that clamp up there, put it into the jug, and I didn't want to stay in there, so I got a little clamp holding it in there. Now I got to go in, turn the battery on so we can run the water pump, and I think from there we just go in and we turn on faucet by faucet until we see pink coming out. And I said I think we just run it until we see pink coming out. I'll do one side at a time, cold and then hot. Not working. It wasn't working because I forgot I got to turn on the water pump. So now I see pink coming out already. But this one's going to take a little longer. It's a lot more line to go through. Okay guys, this spray port was stuck open for some reason. That's why the pump was still going. So I came out here because I heard spraying, and I know you can't tell. There's pink all over the ground already. So this port I would say is good. We got more than enough RV antifreeze through that already now. So I disconnected the hose off of it, and who knows how much RV antifreeze got wasted. So yeah, it ran our jug empty. I'm going to have to switch over to a new jug now. Like I said, who knows how much was pumping on the ground before I realized it. We'll go back inside and continue what we were doing. Jug is empty again, so we're already on gallon 3. Sucks that so much of it went on the ground, but also I'm doing the longest run right now because the water heater's back there, so let's try to run from here all the way back there, all the way back to the front of the camper where the bathroom is. So hopefully we've just about got it. Now the shower. Other side now. On to our last gallon. Hopefully this is enough. Otherwise I'll have to go pick up some more. That looks like it's coming out pink nice and quick. On the other side.
Hot, it won't take as long because this.
It's looking pretty pink. Pink. Call that good. Sweet. It's coming out nice and pink already. Also nice and pink already. Okay. Well, it's the last thing. I hope we got enough left. I'd say we're good. Okay, guys. So, looks like 4 gallons was just enough with what got pumped on the ground before that I didn't realize. So I took the hose back up there, and well, I'm going to flip this valve back so that when I put the panel back on, it's good in the summertime for pumping out of the tank again. I still want to dump some antifreeze down the drains in like the bathroom sink, kitchen sink, and shower sink, but because I'm out of this stuff, I had some of the, this stuff isn't rated as quite as cold, it's only -50, but I had some of this stuff flying around that I'm just going to pour down the drains. Okay guys, I don't think it's going to take a whole lot. I just want some down the drain because the P-trap in there is filled with water, so just dump a little bit down. I don't know how much. Same thing with the shower drain. And the P-traps aren't very big. And then I guess, like I said, kitchen sink, same thing. Okay. So I said I'd show you the difference between the new anode rod and the old anode rod. And as you can see on this one here is the new one. Here's the old one. So, okay, my battery died. So as I was saying, you can see a noticeable difference here in the anode rods. Obviously the new one being on the left there. So yeah, it's time to replace it. So I said I was going to fix this piece here that blocks the water heater and is part of the wall for the cabinet here, and I managed to do that. So what I did was I managed to have a piece of OSB exactly the same size as this piece except for the length. The width was exactly the same except for the length. I had to trim down like 2 inches. I've said it before, it pays to hold on to stuff, little scraps, because you never know when you're going to use it. But then so I put glue all over it in between the layers, and I use crown staples to staple it all down. Reattach these nicely with bigger screws. And then I, instead of having just one hole in the center. I'm going to have a couple holes holding it. And then on the top, I might even go with some kind of L brackets, like maybe 2 of them, right up into this thing, because this is more solid. Like you can see where the screws were in the sidewall here, it just isn't holding because there's nothing to hold to. Same with over here. So I want to mount to something solid, and I think this cross piece would work great. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I wouldn't take this as a how-to video. This is just how I did it. As I pointed out, I've never done this before. Do I think I did this right? Yes. But I guess the real test will be when I de-winterize it in the springtime, which I will do a video on that too. And then we'll be able to see if I did it right or if I failed. The other thing is with that blowout tool, and if anybody wants the link to that, I got it off of Amazon. If anyone wants the link, just drop a comment and I'll put it in the description. Otherwise, I'm not going to bother putting it in the description unless someone actually is interested. But with that blowout tool, I noticed it did not get all the water out. And I'm sure you've seen that. When I started pumping the RV antifreeze through, it took a while for it to actually turn pink, which is weird. I kind of thought that blowing compressed air through there was going to get all the water out, especially with all the faucets and whatnot open. In the future, guys, I got more videos I can do on this thing if you're liking these RV videos, because there's a bunch of stuff that's broken on this thing that I need to fix. It happens. I said we bought this thing brand new like 5 years ago, but they're constantly in an earthquake when you're flying down the highway at 70 miles an hour. They're just bouncing and breaking, and it's part of it. But this is where I'm going to sign off. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. And maybe share it with a friend who you think might enjoy this or get some use out of watching it. And guys, if you haven't, consider subscribing. It helps me out, it helps out the channel. And I guess that's it for now. I'll catch you on the next one.